what I believe about reincarnation. Well, first I'll say that I've always believed in reincarnation. My parents believed in reincarnation since before I was born. They actually are Buddhists, and I was raised went to Buddhist school and all that in Boulder. So I've always believed in reincarnation. So I don't know what it's like to not believe in reincarnation. I sort of know what it's like, but it doesn't make any sense to me, so I can't actually know what it's like. But so first I'm going to talk about what I believe about reincarnation, and then I'm going to try to say how I think any other belief doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I believe in reincarnation because the universe is so old, and the earth is so old that I want to be old too. I don't want to be born yesterday. So I think, well, and not just that, but I do have past life memories, and I want to believe that those are real. My life will be a lot more interesting if I do believe that those are real, and I don't go, oh no, that's not real. So what I believe is that we've lived here a long time. Some people believe billions of years. I would say that my soul, an individual part of my soul, separated from God, the beginnings of the earth, and I was algae for a long time, and then I died, and I was reborn as another algae, and then I turned into a fish, and then when the fish crawled out of the ocean, I got to be one of those fishes, and then I was a rodent, and I was a dinosaur for all this time, and then I was a monkey, and then I'm a dog, and then I'm a human. Now I think the last stage that souls go through before they become human are house pets. Just look at how they watch us. I think they're taking lessons from us. I think somebody's a house pet for a few times. They're a wild cat, and then they become a house pet. So I actually think the souls in house pets are more evolved than the souls in wild animals, generally. And then you get to be a human, and I think, like how the Greeks believed, how bad people were turned into wolves when they die, I believe that it's possible to turn into an animal when you die for a couple lives, live like an animal for a bit, and then until you're ready to be a human. And then you're a human for a long time with the earth. As the earth grows, we're human. So the reason that as the earth grows, our souls grow in different human bodies. And so that's why when our civilization became a one-world civilization with one tongue before the Tower of Babel, fell down and all that. I think the reason that didn't work is because our souls just weren't old enough. But I think now our souls will be old enough to actually be able to handle it, because we've all had enough past life memories. So personal past life memories of mine, I haven't really had any for a long time. I think you have more when you're younger, when you're like early teens. But the last one that I had was back in 2000. I was writing a short story. I had a vision of when I was part of Genghis Khan's army. I had the feeling that he had, where you go through a place and you try to opening up the Silk Trade and Silk Road, and the people don't want to have you there, so they just, they don't want to have anybody who they don't know in there, so they just kill you. So then we were thinking, well, why not just kill everybody, and then replenish it with people who do understand the concept of allowing people to pass through your village. So, and then I had a past life memory, like when I was listening to Indian Watermark song, had a memory of living in a castle in like the seaside in like England. So I think music is good for taking you past your past life. I heard Deep Breakfast, the group, Rhythm in the Pews, and some other song. Made me remember Atlantis, like hanging out in a peaceful place a long time ago where everything was totally different than it is now. And I had a past life memory of the Middle East, back like making it was like making the pyramids, or something big was happening. I think there was some kind of extraterrestrial influence there. I've had a lot of other past life memories too. When I had a past life memory when I read a little book about a kid who was the child of a sun. It was like a book of a Hopi kid, back when I was a little kid, of when I was a Hopi living in the dwellings. And then when I read Black Elk Speaks, I felt like I was there, so I had kind of a past life memory of being a Sioux Indian for this life. One interesting thing about past life memories is, like, I've been to a bunch of psychics now. They say the same thing to me, which is interesting. I always say that I was Indian on my last few lives, and that I died violently on my last few lives. Last psychic I went to said I died violently the last 4 lives that I had, like in a war, when they just said my arm was blown off, so it's interesting that people see that same thing. It's like consistent, and I actually feel it myself. But I kind of feel like the life I had before this life, I didn't even live on a planet the whole time. I kind of feel like I was in a spaceship the whole time, and then I deliberately came here to be able to be on the Earth for the whole technological revolution. I just remember being in a really peaceful place. But maybe that was just the bardo, the purgatory is a peaceful place, which I think is peaceful for everybody. Some religions say that it's not a peaceful place, but I think it's peaceful for everybody. So that's what I think about past life. And then, so what happens? I think when the Earth gets to like a place where the whole world is like a utopia, you get to reincarnate in that for a long time. I mean, I know I'd sure want to live in a utopia, wouldn't you? So, reincarnate over and over again in that place. Now, Buddhists who believe in nirvana, maybe that I digest that as meaning you die, maybe you don't want to live on Earth, you want to live in a really peaceful place on another planet that's more peaceful, so you get to live over there. It's kind of like graduating early. I believe it's possible and common to reincarnate on different planets, this planet and then the next planet, but for the most part, we're like a human family, and we have all lived here on this planet together since the beginning of time. So that's what I believe about reincarnation. It makes perfect sense to me. And then you would reincarnate in your planet until you become, higher life forms, until you're like the Arcturians. You're just kind of like all powerful, and then come to a point you don't even need a body anymore, and then you probably get some other kind of a job, and cosmic job where you oversee like a planet or something. You become like a demigod or a god, and you just keep growing like that, and that's how the universe expands. It's just all these little, I think space is infinite, but matter is not infinite. So matter grows in space, but the time that matter takes to grow in space is infinite. So now, the reason I believe in reincarnation is because, well, it makes more sense to me, but it also is what makes me feel good about the world. I mean, what's wrong with thinking you're going to live forever, believing in eternal life? But like, and that's what Christians believe in. They believe in eternal life, but they believe that, okay, you don't exist at all before you're born. You're nothing, and all of a sudden you exist. You live one life on this planet, and then you go off to heaven for eternity. Okay. Now, number one, why would you only live here once if you're going to live in heaven for eternity? Wouldn't you? And if you didn't do anything before you lived here, why would you live here once? Because there's all sorts of different people on this planet. There's the rich people, the poor people. Why would one person get to be a rich person in their one life on Earth, and another person have to be a poor person and suffer all their whole life in the only life they have on Earth? It makes more sense to me to believe that in all of your lives you get to experience everything, so that you can have the most amount of experiences possible, so that you're the wisest once you become a demigod, so you can become a demigod or a god. So that seems unfair. And how about animals? Is there a heaven just for animals, or do they go to the same heaven as humans do, or do they stay as animals in human, or when they're in heaven? And wouldn't that be unfair? You have to be a dog your whole existence for all eternity.